For the last 8 years, Mercedes has been the place to be. Drivers in the Mercedes Driver Development Program had a gold-plated road ahead of them. Esteban Ocon is one of these drivers. The young Frenchman has shown his talent time and time again, but he hasn't been given the chance to drive in a top car. So why was George Russell promoted instead of him? And why is Ocon the logical choice for Mercedes after Hamilton? Stay tuned to find out. First up, the beginnings. Many Formula One drivers are sons of ex-F1 drivers. It's kind of a family business. But for Esteban Ocon, his family was on the other side of the pits. They owned a small garage in Normandy, and his father Laurent was the mechanic there. That's where Ocon got his passion for cars. He said that he grew up in a mix of fuel, fire, and grease, and his father taught him how engines work and showed him how broken parts could be repaired. Esteban admits that his upbringing was tough, and there was a lot of hard work. He didn't get the same silver spoon as some of the other drivers. His family sacrificed a lot for him, even selling their house and living in a caravan while young Esteban was competing in karting. But each step of the way, his parents' belief in him was reinforced. He notched up 6 titles in his karting career, even coming runner-up to future world champion Max Verstappen. And this success continued all the way up to Formula One, which he officially entered in 2016. The next year, Force India signed him, and he proved his consistency. In a middle-of-the-pack car, he was scoring points in almost every race. He stuck with the team when it became Racing Point, but then was replaced by the new team owner's son, Lance Stroll. That didn't slow him down, though. He went on to an even brighter future at Renault, which became Alpine in 2021. That year, he even scored an unexpected race win. Next, Hungary 2021. If Ocon ever showed how hungry he was for a race win, it was, fittingly, in Hungary. Ocon had qualified in 8th position, just ahead of his teammate Fernando Alonso. There was some tough competition both ahead and behind him, so if he was going to score a higher position, he needed to turn on the speed and maybe get a little bit of luck. That luck came at the start of the race. At just the first turn, Valtteri Bottas slammed into the back of Lando Norris, who then crashed into Max Verstappen. The crash ended up involving 4 other drivers who tried to avoid the calamity. This all worked in favor of Ocon, who emerged from the pack totally unscathed. The session was red flagged, and after the restart, he was in second place, right behind Lewis Hamilton. After Mercedes chose not to pit, it was Ocon in the lead. This was the first time in his career that he was leading a race, and he wasn't about to let it go easily. He defended desperately against Sebastian Vettel and managed to hold him off. Meanwhile, Fernando Alonso was acting as a true team player. Alonso somehow held off the charging Mercedes for 12 laps. At the end of the day, it was enough to hold up Hamilton, and Ocon was a Grand Prix winner. It was the Alpine, or Renault's, first win in 15, and the last Grand Prix winner was Fernando Alonso. If that's not a fairy tale win, I don't know what is. What's the one thing standing in Ocon's way to Mercedes, and what gives him the edge? Don't go anywhere, because all of that is coming right up. Next, trouble in paradise? Everything happens for a reason, right? And maybe the reason Ocon hasn't been promoted to Mercedes is for his own good. This year, Alpine has slotted themselves comfortably behind the big 3 teams of Ferrari, Red Bull, and Mercedes. In the midfield, they are the team to beat. Alpine are the only team running a Renault engine, and it seems to be working out for them. In a shocking turn of events, Mercedes looked like they are having some engine trouble. Not only are they almost a second away from the pace of the frontrunners, but their customer teams are having issues too. McLaren, Aston Martin, and Williams are all finishing at the back of the pack, while the Ferrari-powered teams of Haas and Alfa Romeo are having some good results. It's not a great time to be in a Mercedes, and if they can't adapt quickly, the Renault engine could be in a good position. All of the Mercedes engine problems are even more serious because of the engine freeze coming into effect at the end of the year. What that means is that the development of performance-enhancing engine upgrades won't be allowed. It's supposed to level the playing field and bring costs down, but so far, it looks like all that it's done is end the Mercedes era of dominance. In the first race of the season, Ocon finished just 8 seconds behind the nearest Mercedes of George Russell. Esteban Ocon might actually be thankful that he's not in a Mercedes just yet. He could be better off continuing to prove himself at Alpine and keeping his options open. An English boy standing in the way. Throughout 2019 and 2020, Ocon worked with Mercedes as the test driver. He had experience with the simulators, the cars, and the team, but he never got the chance to jump into the cockpit during a race. He was close to getting that chance at the German Grand Prix in 2019, but it never materialized. And within the next couple of years, he watched his chances slip away as a new rising talent was catching the attention of Mercedes boss Toto Wolff. It was George Russell, a decorated junior driver who was making waves during his time at Williams. The car he was given was widely accepted as the slowest on the grid, but he somehow managed to prize some exceptional performances from the race car-looking tractor. Not only did he score points in 2021, but he also finished on the podium in Belgium. And the Mercedes program, just like Red Bull and Ferrari, is cutthroat. The team are looking for a future world champion, so they have to tick all the boxes. Ocon himself took over Pass Pascal Wehrlein as the new hope of the team. But it was George Russell who stole the spotlight from Ocon. When Hamilton pulled out of the Sakir Grand Prix in 2020, it was Russell who was given the drive, not Ocon. That race was defined by monumental mistakes by Mercedes that ultimately cost Russell a guaranteed race win, but he left his mark. Toto Wolff was happy, and from then on, his promotion to Mercedes was a foregone conclusion. So what did Ocon do wrong? Nothing really. He was just unfortunate not to get the chance to prove himself, and it was bad timing that Mercedes had two young guns on their hands. But Ocon is now proving that he might have been the better choice. Fighting spirit. The mark of a world champion is not often grace, humility, or sportsmanship. In Formula One, many world champions are instead known for their controversial driving. Schumacher famously crashed into rivals not once but twice in the last race of the season to win himself the title. Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen have had dramatic collisions with rivals and teammates. This is the mentality that Ocon has shown. His spirited defense in Hungary was like something out of a movie. He kept his Alpine ahead of the others at all costs. In fact, Ocon was racing so hard that it almost got him punched by Max Verstappen. At the 2018 Brazilian Grand Prix, Verstappen tried to pass Ocon when the two collided, which lost Verstappen the lead. After the race, he said over the radio that he hoped that he couldn't find him after the race, otherwise there would be trouble. Unfortunately for Ocon, Max did find him after the race. While they were getting their mandatory post-race weighing, Max confronted Esteban and pushed him aggressively several times. At one point, it looked like he was about to punch him in the face, but Ocon only shows aggression in his driving, and this is also the sign of a race winner. For Russell, it's hard to say that he has the same win-at-all-costs mentality. When he joined Mercedes, he made it clear that he was there to be a team player and that it didn't matter which teammate scored the points. That wasn't the case for Lewis when he pushed Alonso out of McLaren, nor was it the case for Vettel when he pushed Ricciardo out. Russell hasn't shown this same killer instinct, and maybe that's why he hasn't won a race yet. Will we see Ocon in a Mercedes car sometime soon, or is he better off staying where he is? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.